Okay, so this is my first lecture in FAR. So as I said, I will be covering Baker book, my own notes, and I would also be covering MCQs. So if I find that in other books other than Baker, in Sargent or in any of the other publications, I need to cover anything, then I will surely cover that thing in the next class. But apart from now, I find that Baker is self-sufficient. It's cover everything. But I also find that there are many points which is not covered in Beck, so I have covered it in my notes from other books. So starting with this Baker, the module 1 says covers all about balance sheet, income statement, comprehensive income, and this is a compact revision video. So you don't have to bother that many things will not be covered. I will cover the whole book in detail. So coming to the balance sheet. Before coming to the balance sheet, let's cover something which is very important. Let's know what is the FASB and standard setting. FASB is a board. The main organization are Securities Exchange Commission, that is SEC. The other one is FAF, Financial Accounting Foundation. We mainly cover FASB over here because FASB is a board. FASB stands for Financial Accounting Standard Board. Though CPA would not be asking you the full form, it's not that easy, but yeah, it's easy. The other one is FASAC, Financial Accounting Standard Advisory Council. So these are all for information. You don't have to know all these things. So starting with FAF, the main parent body is the FAF, Financial Accounting Foundation. It appoints member of FASB. It arranges funding for FASB and oversees the working of FASB. They might ask you that who appoints FASB members? That is FAP. It might be an easy question, but if you don't study, you might not answer the question. So the members of FASB are appointed by FAF, and FASB is an independent body. It is not dependent on anybody. That means there are no bodies who will pressurize FASB to just alternate the accounting policies and all. And it has been established standard for business entities. That is, for private entity, you don't have to follow FASB. Only if it's business entity, you have to follow FASB. And it is only accountable to FAF because FAF only is the main parent body. And it is a private sector body. So coming to FASAC, it provides advisory guidance. It issues policy, project deadline, and create task force. Other points of FASB: members not required to be CPS. Other than CPS also, you can be the member of FASB. Members represents public accounting profession. FASB contains 7 full-time members with renewable for 1 additional term and staggered 5 years term. That means that is FASB contains 7 full-time members with a 5-year term, and it can be renewable for 1 additional term. That is maximum you can be a member of FASB for 10 years. Objectives of FASB: it is an international coverage of accounting standards. That is, all the countries have to follow FASB. Majority of the countries, because FASB is only actually followed by US accounting companies, but in UK they have other different, because US follows US GAAP and UK follows IFRS. So FASB is for only those countries which follows US GAAP. Objectives of FASB: international convergence of accounting standard, resolve deficiencies in standards, maintain and improve financial reporting framework and standards. Setting standards. So the FASB receives requests from public accounting professional members like investors, SEC and other new accounting standards and clarifies on some existing accounting standards. I am not marking all this because these are just for knowledge purpose. You just listen once and you will able to answer the questions. Conduct research. Who conducts research? FASB conducts research on requests received by the issues and discussion of memorandum. It conducts public hearing, the evaluation and comments and views received. It issues exposure draft. It receives comments on exposure draft. It finalizes the above draft and issues accounting standards update. So before issuing accounting standard updates, draft have to be prepared, finalization of the draft have to be done, research have to be made. This one is important. Issuance of accounting standard update. You will find in MCQs also. FASB issues accounting standards update if it wants to update anything. FASB emerging issues task force. So what is this? EITF. This is emerging issues task force. Considers emerging issues arising on financial reporting aspects which require prompt solution. Assist FASB to focus more on speedily pervasive issue. Pervasive means which is continually happening. If there is some issues which is continually happening but it do not have a solution, then FASB would be knocked on. If EITF is not able to reach consensus, interference of FASB is required. Pronouncements of EITF is included in gap pronouncements as a revised new standard. Now coming to SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. It is a federal government agency, that is, it is not private agency. We read in FASB that FASB is a private agency, but this SEC is a public entity, that is federal government agency. In US, federal stands for central and state stands for state only, but central in US, federal stands for central. So SEC is a central government agency. It administers the securities laws of United States, authorized to establish gap, but it has ceded its authority for establishing gap to FASB. Means if any of the gap, that is generally accepted accounting principle, issues arise, then SEC will pass it on to FASB. Now coming to AICPA, that is American Institute of Certified Public Accountant. It is the only body which issues CPA. Like in India, we have ICAI, which is the only body which conducts the examination and brings out CA. So AICPA is the National Professional Organization for practicing CPAs. It provides resources, information and intels to its member so that valuable services can be provided. If a CPA is on trouble or if there is an issue concerning CPA, then the CPA can reach out to AICPA, and AICPA has also body and the members will help the CPA to resolve the solution. So formation of AICPA, these are the notes which is made by me. I have made the research because these are also, it might be possible that in CPA if they try to give a easy question they might ask you, but in Baker you won't find all these stuffs. So you must know all these things, that when is AICPA formed. In year 1939, CAP, that is Committee on Accounting Procedures, was formed for promulgating gap, that is for formation of gap. And in the year 1959, APB, that is Accounting Principal Board, was formed to take over CAP. Members were required to be CPA. I'm sorry. So in this CAP, so the CAP was taken over by APB. First CAP was formed, then CAP was taken over by APB, and in APB all the members were required to be CPA, and in the year 1971 FASB was made and gradually APB was taken over, and FASB is not affiliated with AICPA. Because AICPA is a federal, is a national, that is federal organization, and FASB is a private organization. So coming to the second point, it is FAS code, that is Financial Accounting Standard Codification. What is this codification stands? So the Financial Accounting Standards Codification, exclusion from FAS, Government Accounting Standard, Cash Basis Accounting, all these are excluded from Financial Accounting Standards. Government Accounting Standard, Cash Basis Accounting, Regulatory Basis of Accounting Principle, Income Tax Basis Accounting, Modified Cash Basis Accounting. What are the objectives of this codification? Reduction of risk of non-compliance, simplification of GAAP, easy accessibility to GAAP standard, providing all relevant material at single places, helpful in convergence with IFRS with ease, comfortable efforts for researching an accounting issue. So what is this codification structure? You will have this MCQ over here. So from this MCQ I just made this structure, that is codification structure. The first part is area and it goes sequentially. You cannot just move above any of the things. So it goes sequentially. The first thing which comes is area, the second topic, and under topic you have subtopics, under subtopics you have sections, under sections you have subsections, and there you will get paragraphs. So the codification structure, first is area, the second is topic. Under area means you have a specified area that you will speak of leases. So under lease you will have topic, that is sublease or other types of lease, and you will have subtopics, and under that you will have sections, then subsections, then paragraphs. What are the areas? So we are covering this area, we will cover everything in detail. My summary note is in detail. So if you read my summary note, if you see my lecture, I can give you 100% assurance that you will clear CPA at any cost in single attempt. So the area highest level in accounting standard codification, as said, it comes at the top, so it's the highest level. Table enumerating numeric identifier. So the areas are general principle presentation, assets, liabilities, equity, revenue, expense, industry. The specific number identifier, you don't have to learn all this, because when you will be in practical life, when you will file any tax return, so when you will write asset, the number which will show in the software is 300. So in 300 there are other, from 300 to 400 there are topics, subtopics, sections, subsections. So this is for practical purpose, you don't have to remember all these things. So what are topics? There are 90 topics across 90 areas. As said, you will find 100 difference in each of the topic. So in each of the area there are 100 points difference. So where are these 100 points will go? So these 100 points are topics. The topics are 90 topics across 9 areas. There are 9 areas and there are 90 topics in between. The subtopics, the number of subtopics depends on topics and its contents. Each areas has a specific number identifier. Sections. So there are 16 sections with associated numeric identifier. So there are specific identifier also. Status. As said, you don't have to learn all these things, you just see, because I am also covering the practical aspects. So when tomorrow you clear the CPA and you go for an interview, so you can say that yeah, there are sections, there are subsections, there are areas, because in tax profile you need all these things. For ACC guidance, subsections. So going to the subsections, not specifically numbered. Subsections do not have numbering, you just write on your own. Some sections contain subsections and some do not. Means you have a pre-filled subsection, or if there is no subsection and you want to add, means I am talking of the software which you are going to use later on, like CSS, Drake over there in tax filing. So I will also cover my practical aspects, what I do in my job, and will also teach you. Updation of accounting standard codification, update through ASU. This is very important. How are standard codification updated? The accounting standard codification are updated through ASU, that is through accounting standards updates. Separate documents available on FASB website. Contents of ASU. What are the contents of ASU? Accounting standards updates. The contents of ASU are explanation about how codification changes, basis of update, summarization of key aspects of update. So what is the basis of US GAAP? Today I will be teaching you the basis, the basic thing, and then from the next class I will be covering this Baker, because this Baker is quite advanced level. So before that I need to teach my basic notes, so you get a overview of what are we going to study. We are going to study US GAAP mainly, because in USA the US GAAP is prevalent and in UK IFRS is prevalent. So if you want to do your career in USA, you need to study US GAAP. What are the objectives of financial reporting? Entities' ability to generate future net cash flow. So what are the objectives? You might be thinking that I am only reading the things, but the thing is that if you also listen me and see the things, you are also getting accustomed to the things. So you don't have to read twice, you read along with me. But from the next class, if the sum comes, if an advanced level comes, then I will go in deep. So you don't have to, you just have trust and faith with me. As I promised, this is my responsibility to clear CPA for you. Means you have to clear CPA, and that is my responsibility. You just be with me, trust me, and I promise that if you be with me, if you listen what I am saying, what I am doing, then you will surely clear the US CPA. And I am doing all this for free. I just want your belief and nothing else. Just give a like, and if you want, you can like my channel or you can subscribe. So there is no hard and fast rule that you have to like and subscribe. Only if you like my way of teaching, you can do, because I am also spending time to teach you all. So it's not hard and fast rule that you have to support me, but if you support me, I can move further. It will motivate me. So coming to the basis of US GAAP, objectives of financial reporting: entity's ability to generate future cash flow, management's effectiveness to achieve stewardship's responsibilities. Stewardship responsibility means it's not customized, it's means categorized, means you cannot change the responsibilities, it's written over there, and the responsibilities which are written, it's fixed, means it's rigid. So descriptions of entities' financial strength and weakness depicted by economic resources and claims on them. Descriptions of entities' liquidity and solvency factors such as uncertainty, timing, and amount of entities' cash flow. Transactions that modifies entities' economic resources and claims those resources. What are the qualitative characteristics? The primary characteristics is relevance, predictive value, confirmatory value, and materiality. I hope you know that the accountancy has three basic principles. One is going concern, the other one is accrual, the third one is consistency. So the three basic principles are accrual, consistency, and going concern. That is the basic thing. But the primary characteristics of US GAAP is relevance. This is the main point, relevance. Under relevance you have predictive value, confirmatory value, materiality. Predictive value suggests the value for future. Confirmatory value suggests that what are the values which the management wrote in PL and balance sheet are confirmed, means they are true and fair, they are not inflated. That stands for confirmatory value. And materiality is if in a audit you spend 1 crore, so the distance, means if you are going for an audit in Uber, so the Uber will cost you around 100 or 200, but the audit will be around 1 crore. So the Uber, you won't be writing it in PL and balance sheet, you will adjusting it in total, means in aggregate. So materiality, you will write the material amounts and you will remove the amounts which are not material. Faithful representation. Faithful representation means true and fair. Faithful representation means true and fair. It is neutral, it is free from error, and it stands all complete. So going to the MCQ, see, the first MCQ is which of the following characteristics means the information is reasonably free from error and bias. Free from error and bias. You answer. Which of the following is free from error and bias? Faithful representation, relevance, consistency, or predictive value? Faithful representation, as we studied now. Faithful representation, because see, faithful representation says it's complete, it's neutral, and it's free and error. So the following characteristics means information is reasonably free from error and bias, that is faithful representation. And enhancing characteristics: comparability, verifiability, that is it can be verified, that is if we are showing an asset, so that asset should be there, that is we can go and verify that asset is really there. Timeliness, we cannot show an asset that it was there 50 years back but now it is not there, so we are presenting balance sheet as on a particular date, so we must be perfect with the time also, that as on this date the balance, the asset is available. And understand ability, So we are done with all these things. So going to the accounting assumptions, as I said, there are three accounting principles: going concern, accrual, and consistency. But these are accounting assumptions. Accounting assumptions are not equivalent to accounting principles. So what are the accounting assumptions? The accounting assumptions are entity assumptions, that is separate accounting entity, which means the entity and the owners are separate. If the entity does anything wrong, or if the entity goes insolvent, you cannot go to the home of any of the owner and sell his house property. So if the entity goes insolvent, if the entity does anything wrong, it's the entity responsibility only, it's not the responsibility of the owner. So the entity is separate from the owner. Going concern assumption. Going concern assumption means we are working as if the entity will go forever. That is, it is deemed, if we are going for an audit, that means if we see a company, it is deemed that the company is not going to be closed in the near future. So it is our general accounting assumption. Time period assumption. The time period assumption means it is deemed that it will go for infinite life. The entity will move for infinite life. Unit of measure assumption. Elements of financial statements are measured in monetary units of country in which business is operated. That is, if we are speaking of two entities, means two branches of a single entity, that is Apple. We have Apple in USA, we have Apple in India also. So in India we will show the balance sheet in INR, in Indian rupees, but in USA we will show it in USD. So a single company will have multiple monetary units depending on the country where it is located. Capital maintenance, financial capital maintenance, physical capital maintenance. We have financial capital maintenance, that is in our portfolios, the capitals which are not cash other than something cash. And physical capital maintenance means we have cash. Physical capital maintenance is not considered under US GAAP. Changes in price level considered. So the changes is in price level is considered under US GAAP under physical capital maintenance. That means US GAAP do not consider cash, but if there is changes in cash, we have to consider that level. Or if it's not cash, or if it's something other which is physically available, so it only considers changes. But in respect to financial capital maintenance, US GAAP considers financial capital maintenance, but it does not consider changes in price level. Does not considers changes in price level. What are the accounting principles? Measurement principle, revenue recognition principle, expense recognition principle, and full disclosure principle. What is this measurement principle? That is, it can be measured, that balance sheet and PL always be having monetary effects. That is, all the things can be measured in money. There you won't be having managers love, like employees love and affection, employees knowledge. All this cannot be measured. If you have a qualified, overqualified, or a qualified employee, you will not see in balance sheet asset section that we have this employee who is having this degree, because it cannot be quantified in money. that means measurement principle, revenue recognition principle. All the things can be recognized in respect to revenue. We have a separate US GAAP for this revenue recognition. How we recognize principle, what are the conditions we recognize principle, we will be studying this in detail. This is a very large chapter, so you just have trust in me. I will just cover each and every point in detail. Expense recognition principle, this will also be covered along with this revenue recognition principle. Full disclosure principle, this is a general principle that whatever we disclose, we will disclose in full. Measurement principle, so in measurement principle, how do we measure the things? We measure in historic cost, net present value, net realizable cost, current replacement cost, fair value, amortization cost. This is the last thing which I am going to let you understand, and then we are going to end this class as of now. Historical cost means the cost when we bought the assets or when we bought the thing, that is historical cost. Net present value means what is the present value, NPV. We have to calculate NPV, and that is how we will be coming to know net present value. Net realizable cost means if we sell it in market, what will be the cost the other seller are going to give me, that is net realizable cost. Current replacement cost, that if we want to exchange it, then what will be our current replacement cost. In lieu of exchange, the cost which will be getting in lieu of exchange, that is the current replacement cost. This is the fair value, we calculate the fair value. And that amortization cost means after amortizing the things, means after deducting the amortization, what are we getting. Amortization cost is only applicable for intangible assets, because for tangible assets we do depreciation, and for intangible assets we do amortization. Okay, let's study the basic things. Okay, let's continue. Other consideration, one is cost consideration, and one is cost constraint, and one is conservatism. I am saying you in detail what is this consideration. Cost constraint means cost is under crunch, means we follow the cost method.